She declared a bond only a mate could cross. The human had no way out. Captain Alex Rivers adjusted the controls on the landing module, his hands moving with practiced precision. The surface of Xiphora stretched below him, a strange landscape of jagged rocks, glowing plants, and rivers of shimmering light that reflected the twin suns. He had never seen a planet like this. Even in all his years of exploration, Xiphora's strange beauty was unmatched. As the module touched down with a soft thrum, Alex felt a familiar thrill. He had been trained for dangerous missions, for unknown worlds, but nothing could fully prepare someone for the sight of a world that seemed alive in every way. Strange currents of energy moved across the land, like the planet itself was breathing. He stepped out, his boots crunching against a surface that seemed to hum under his weight. Alex's mission was simple on paper: study the energy crystals rumored to exist in Xiphora's core city. Their properties could change human energy technology forever. But as soon as he stepped off the landing pad, something felt wrong. There was a shimmer in the air, a distortion that made the colors of the planet look sharper, almost unreal. A sudden wall of energy appeared before him. It rose like a transparent, glowing fence surrounding the landing area. Alex froze. His scanners went wild, picking up the energy readings, but nothing in human science matched this. He pressed the communicator button, trying to call the ship, but there was only static. The barrier was blocking all transmissions. Before he could react, movement appeared beyond the barrier. A figure stepped forward, tall and commanding, walking with fluid motion. Alex's breath caught. The alien was unlike anything he had seen before. It was humanoid in shape, but taller, more graceful, with skin that shimmered slightly in the sunlight and eyes that seemed to pierce through him. "I am Commander Lyra," the alien said, voice clear and firm, yet strangely melodic. "You have entered Xiphora without permission. You cannot leave. The bond protects this world." Alex took a step back. "Bond? I don't understand. I'm an explorer. I come in peace. I mean no harm." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "The bond is not negotiable. Only a mate chosen by Xiphora's laws may cross the barrier safely." "No human has ever done this." Alex felt a chill. The laws of the planet were alien, but he understood the meaning clearly. He was trapped. No human device could break the bond. No escape was possible unless he obeyed Xiphora's rules. His mind raced. He had faced danger before, but this was not something he could fight with weapons or technology. "I can't," he began, but Lyra raised her hand. "Arguments are meaningless. You will either submit to the trials or remain outside, where survival is impossible. The planet is not kind to those who do not follow the bond." Alex realized the truth immediately. Beyond the barrier, the land was alive. Strange creatures with energy-like forms prowled the fields. Even breathing in the air without understanding it could be dangerous. He had no choice. He would have to face Xiphora's challenge. Lyra gestured toward a path that glimmered faintly. "Come, you will be tested. Your worth must be proven before the bond allows you further." Alex swallowed his fear. He had been trained for exploration, for survival, but nothing in human history had prepared him for a challenge like this. Every step he took toward Lyra felt like stepping into an entirely new world. The journey to the capital was strange and disorienting. Floating rocks hovered in the air, glowing streams ran in patterns that defied logic, and the plants seemed to react to their movements. Alex tried to take notes, but his mind was focused on one thing: survival. Every instinct screamed that one wrong move could be fatal. Lyra walked beside him, calm and unhurried. She said nothing, but Alex could feel her gaze, always observing, measuring. He wondered what she thought of him, a fragile human in a world of power and rules he did not understand. They reached the city as the suns dipped toward the horizon. The capital of Xiphora was breathtaking. Towers of crystal and metal glowed with internal light. Bridges made of pure energy connected floating platforms. The entire city seemed to hum, alive with energy flowing from the core. Alex's breath caught. He had seen alien cities before, but none had felt so alive, so aware. Lyra stopped at the edge of a platform. "This is where your trial begins. You must prove that you are worthy of passing beyond the bond. You will face challenges that test your strength, your mind, and your courage. Only if you succeed may you continue." Alex nodded. He had faced dangers before, aliens, storms, even hostile planets, but nothing like this. Still, he felt a surge of determination. He would not fail. Humans were not the strongest species, but they were clever, adaptable, and persistent. He would have to rely on every bit of training, every bit of knowledge, every instinct. The first trial began immediately. He was led to a platform that floated above a vast chasm. The surface shifted constantly, forming steps and patterns he had to navigate. Misstep and he would fall into the glowing abyss below. His heart raced. He jumped carefully, using balance and timing, every movement precise. It was more than physical skill, it required observation and strategy. He had to read the shifting surface before it moved beneath him. Lyra watched silently. Alex could feel her eyes judging his every move. He felt exposed, vulnerable, but also driven. Human determination burned inside him. He remembered the stories of explorers, of humans who faced the unknown and survived. He would not be another failure. After what seemed like hours, though it was probably only minutes, he reached the other side. He was breathless, sweating, but he had done it. The platform beneath him glimmered, acknowledging his success. Lyra nodded slightly, a small sign of approval, though her face remained unreadable. "You survived the first test. There will be more," she said. "You must continue to prove your worth." Alex allowed himself a small breath of relief. One trial down, but he knew the next challenges would be harder. Already, he had faced the edge of fear and survived, but he could feel that Zyphora had many surprises waiting. As they walked deeper into the city, Alex saw the creatures that lived among the glowing towers. Some were small, delicate beings, fluttering like lights. Others were larger, moving with calculated grace. They seemed to watch him, curious but not hostile. He realized that survival here was as much about understanding and respecting the world as it was about strength. Lyra spoke again. "The next trial will test your mind. The puzzles of Zyphora are not simple. They require observation, understanding, and imagination. You must solve them to continue." Alex nodded. He had never been a puzzle expert, but he was resourceful. He could think in ways others could not, especially when pressured. As they approached a chamber filled with glowing symbols and shifting pathways, he felt the familiar mix of fear and excitement that always came before a challenge. Inside the chamber, patterns of light moved across the walls and floor. The symbols shifted constantly, forming sequences that seemed impossible to follow. Alex studied them carefully. He noticed subtle repetitions, small clues hidden in the flow of energy. He began to move, interacting with the symbols in a way that was instinctive, trying one approach after another. Minutes passed. Hours might have passed. Time felt distorted in the chamber. But slowly the symbols aligned, forming a pathway forward. A door of light opened at the far end. Alex exhaled, a grin breaking across his face despite his exhaustion. He had done it again. Lyra stepped forward, her expression unreadable but her eyes holding something like respect. "You are clever, human, most fail at this stage. Few survive both physical and mental trials. You may continue, though the final challenge awaits. It is the greatest test of all." Alex felt a mixture of relief and anxiety. He was surviving, but he knew the final test would be harder. He had come to Zyphora as an explorer, curious and confident, but now he understood the stakes. The bond was not just a barrier. It was a measure of trust, courage, and determination. Only by proving himself could he hope to survive. That night, as he rested in a safe chamber provided by Zyphorian guardians, Alex reflected on the day. He had faced the impossible and succeeded, but he knew the trials would become more difficult. He thought about the humans who had come before him, explorers and adventurers who faced the unknown with courage. They had risked everything for discovery, and he would do the same. Outside, the city glowed under the twin moons. The energy of Zyphora pulsed through the air, alive and aware. Alex felt a strange sense of connection, as if the planet itself was watching him, measuring him, waiting to see what he would do next. He closed his eyes, preparing for the challenges ahead, determined to prove that humans, though fragile compared to Zyphorians, could endure, adapt, and triumph where others failed. As he drifted into a restless sleep, Alex knew one thing clearly: he had no way out but forward. Every trial, every challenge, every risk would test him, but he was ready. Humans did not give up easily. Humans survived. And humans, he reminded himself, could achieve greatness even in the face of impossible odds. Alex woke to the soft hum of Zyphora's city. Light from the twin moons filtered through the crystal towers, casting shifting patterns across the floor. He stretched, still sore from the first day's trials, but the ache was a reminder that he had survived. He had proven himself capable of facing the impossible, but the next steps promised even greater challenges. Lyra was waiting. She did not greet him warmly, but her eyes held a spark of interest, a recognition of his efforts. "The next trial begins now," she said simply. "It is not enough to be strong or clever. You must prove your courage and your heart." Alex followed her through winding corridors, the city alive with motion. Glowing platforms floated above rivers of light, and strange creatures moved around them, observing silently. Even after a full day, the world still seemed unreal. He could not predict its patterns, but he had learned one lesson: careful observation and quick thinking were as important as strength. Lyra led him to a large arena, circular and open to the sky. The surface was smooth, made of a material that shimmered with energy. As Alex stepped onto it, he realized it was not solid in the way he was used to. The floor shifted beneath his feet, creating obstacles and sudden drops. He had to balance carefully, testing each step before moving forward. A voice echoed in the arena, soft but commanding. "Your next trial will test your courage. You will face fear directly, and only by confronting it will you succeed." Alex felt a chill. He had faced dangers before, but this was different. Fear was no longer just a reaction to the environment. It would be part of the challenge. The arena itself seemed to respond to his thoughts, creating illusions that tested his mind as much as his body. Suddenly, figures appeared around him. At first, they were shadowy and distant, but then they became clearer. They resembled people he knew, friends, fellow explorers, even family members. They called to him, pleading, warning, accusing. Alex's heart pounded. These were illusions, he knew, but they felt real. Every instinct screamed to run, to hide, but he forced himself to stand still. Lyra observed quietly from the edge of the arena. She did not interfere. The trial was designed to show whether Alex could maintain focus and bravery in the face of fear. He took a deep breath and spoke aloud, steadying himself. "I know this isn't real. I won't let fear control me." His voice felt firm, and slowly the illusions began to fade. New shapes appeared, harder to ignore, towering predators made of energy with glowing eyes and sharp edges. They advanced toward him, moving faster and faster. Alex did not hesitate. He remembered the floating platforms from the first trial. He leapt, landing carefully, dodging the predators with quick reflexes. Every movement was deliberate, every step calculated. He used his surroundings, jumping onto raised platforms and sliding along energy beams, keeping the predators at bay. Each time he moved, he felt a surge of determination. Humans were not the strongest, but they could adapt, improvise, and endure. The predators were relentless, but Alex's mind remained clear. He noticed patterns in their movement, weaknesses he could exploit. He led them toward energy barriers, causing the creatures to collide and dissipate. Step by step, he advanced across the arena. The trial tested not only courage, but intelligence and patience. Fear alone would not defeat him. Strategy and observation were required. Finally, he reached the center of the arena. The predators vanished, leaving him standing on a glowing platform. A sense of relief washed over him, but it was brief. Lyra stepped forward, her expression calm but firm. "You have proven bravery. Many fail because they let fear control them. You remained focused and strong, but courage alone will not carry you further. There is still more to prove." Alex nodded, not expecting praise, but he felt it nonetheless. He was learning quickly that survival on Scifi required not only strength and intelligence, but also respect for the planet and its rules. Humans could endure, but they had to understand what they faced. The next challenge was different. Lyra led him to a chamber filled with glowing orbs, each suspended in midair. Some pulsed slowly, others rapidly, and the room was filled with a soft humming sound. Alex realized immediately that this trial would test his mental skills. He had to organize the orbs in a specific sequence to unlock the path forward. At first, he tried random movements, touching orbs without a plan. Nothing happened. Then he observed carefully, noting subtle patterns in their glow and pulse. He began to connect the sequences, moving the orbs deliberately. Slowly, the room responded, doors opening as the correct combinations were achieved. Alex felt satisfaction in his mind's triumph, understanding that patience and careful thought were as important as physical ability. Lyra watched silently. Alex noticed that her expression softened slightly, as if she appreciated his persistence and ability to think clearly under pressure. The trials were shaping him, testing every aspect of his character, and he was proving that humans could face the impossible with intelligence and courage. After the mental challenge, The final part of the trial required teamwork with Lyra herself. They had to navigate a series of energy corridors, shifting and changing unpredictably. Alex realized quickly that he could not rely on his human instincts alone. He had to communicate and coordinate with Lyra, anticipating her moves as she anticipated his. For the first time, he saw a different side of her. She was strict, disciplined, and precise, but she also trusted him, giving him room to act independently while guiding him subtly. Their movements became synchronized, a blend of human ingenuity and Xiphorian skill. The corridors twisted and turned, but together they advanced, reaching the exit safely. Once outside, Lyra addressed him directly. "You have completed this stage of the trials. Your courage, intelligence, and adaptability are unusual among humans. Most fail long before this point. You have earned the right to continue. But remember, the bond that protects this city remains unbroken. You have crossed part of it through skill and determination, but the final trial will test the essence of your spirit. Only then can you step fully beyond the barrier." Alex felt a mixture of pride and anxiety. He had survived more than he thought possible, yet he knew the ultimate challenge was still ahead. The bond was not simply a physical barrier. It was a measure of character, of courage, intelligence, and trust. Humans could survive in the galaxy through persistence and cleverness, but this was something entirely new. As night fell over Xiphora, the city shimmered under the light of the moons. Alex rested briefly, reflecting on what he had learned. The trials were not merely obstacles, they were lessons. Every challenge had tested a different aspect of human skill and spirit. Strength alone was not enough, and fear could be a deadly enemy. Adaptability, intelligence, and courage were equally vital. He thought about the humans who had come before him, explorers who had faced unknown worlds and survived. Their determination had paved the way for him, and he felt their presence in his mind, guiding him through the trials. Humans were fragile compared to Xiphorians, yes, but they had an inner strength that could not be measured by physical ability alone. The night passed slowly. Alex kept watch, unable to fully rest. Every sound in the city reminded him that Xiphora was alive and aware. The energy flowed through the streets, the towers, and even the air itself. He sensed that the planet observed him constantly, assessing his worth. Every instinct told him that the trials were far from over. In the early hours of dawn, Lyra appeared again, ready to begin the next stage. Alex felt a surge of determination. The previous challenges had taught him much, but he knew the ultimate test awaited. The bond was not simply a physical barrier to be crossed. It was a measure of spirit, of courage, and of intelligence. He was ready to prove himself, not just for survival, but to show that humans could earn respect even in worlds dominated by far stronger species. He followed Lyra through the glowing corridors of the city, his mind alert, every sense sharpened. He knew that every step would matter, that every decision could determine the difference between success and failure. Humans were not the fastest or the strongest, but they were clever, persistent, and capable of extraordinary feats when the stakes were high. As they approached the next chamber, Alex felt a mixture of fear and excitement. This world was dangerous, alien, and beautiful, but it was also a place where a human could shine through courage and ingenuity. He took a deep breath, ready to face whatever challenge Xiphora had prepared. For the first time, he understood the true meaning of the bond. It was not just a barrier to keep intruders out. It was a test, a measure of the worth of any being who dared to cross it. And Alex Rivers, human explorer, was determined to prove that his species could meet any challenge, even on a planet as extraordinary and dangerous as Xiphora. Alex followed Lyra through the corridors of Xiphora's capital, his mind still racing from the trials he had faced. The challenges had tested his courage, intelligence, and physical skills, but he felt stronger and more confident. He had begun to understand the rhythm of this alien world, though much remained mysterious. Every step he took, every motion of the glowing city, reminded him that Xiphora was alive in ways humans could barely comprehend. Lyra led him to a chamber that was unlike anything he had seen before. It was circular, with walls of transparent crystal that glowed softly from the energy flowing through them. In the center, a pool of liquid light shimmered, reflecting patterns onto the ceiling. The air hummed with power, and Alex felt it deep in his chest. It was as if the energy itself was alive, aware of his presence. "This is the heart of Xiphora," Lyra said, her voice calm and commanding. The bond that protects this city originates here. It is not just a barrier. It is alive, linked to the essence of our people. Few outsiders can even touch its surface, and fewer still can survive in its presence. Alex stepped closer to the pool, his eyes wide. He had studied alien technology, had explored worlds that defied human understanding, but this was unlike anything he had encountered. He could feel the energy pulsing in his hands and his chest, even in his thoughts. It was overwhelming but also fascinating. Lyra watched him closely. The bond chooses who may cross. It responds to courage, intelligence, and loyalty. Strength alone is meaningless. Many have tried to force their way through, and all have failed. Humans are particularly interesting to the bond. Your species is fragile, yet persistent, clever, and resourceful. This makes you unusual. Alex felt a mixture of pride and apprehension. He had survived the first trials, but now he realized that the final challenge would not just test his skills, it would test his very character. He had to prove that he was worthy, not just capable. Lyra gestured toward the pool. To proceed, you must connect with the bond. You will feel its presence, its judgment. You must show it your courage, your determination, and your respect for Xiphora. Only then will it allow you to pass. Alex took a deep breath and stepped forward. The moment he touched the liquid light, a surge of energy ran through him, warm but powerful. Images flashed in his mind, past explorers, alien landscapes, the flow of Xiphora's energy. It was dizzying, almost too much to bear. He clenched his fists, focusing on his training and instincts. He would not falter. Humans survived by pushing through fear, by adapting, by thinking under pressure. He would do the same here. Suddenly, a vision appeared. He saw a great invasion, alien ships descending upon Xiphora, energy weapons cutting through the city. The bond seemed to show him a memory, a warning of what could happen if outsiders were allowed to pass without respect and understanding. Alex realized that the bond was not just a test, it was a protector of life, a guardian of Xiphora's people. He felt Lyra's presence beside him, guiding without touching, her energy flowing alongside his. "Do not resist," she said. "The bond does not seek to harm you. It seeks to understand you." Alex nodded, steadying his breath. Instead of struggling against the energy, he focused on its rhythm, feeling its flow, matching it with his own determination. He thought of humans who had faced impossible odds, who had explored unknown worlds, who had survived disasters that seemed inevitable. He drew on their courage, their ingenuity, their persistence. The bond pulsed in response, testing him with images of fear, doubt, and failure. He saw himself falling into chasms, trapped in collapsing structures, surrounded by hostile creatures. Every illusion was designed to make him hesitate, to falter. But Alex did not give in. He acknowledged the fears, accepted them, and moved forward with steady determination. He would not allow fear to control him. Humans survived by thinking, by acting, by enduring. He would endure. The energy around him began to shift, no longer overwhelming but responsive. It moved in patterns that Alex could follow, like a language he was beginning to understand. He reached toward the center of the pool, feeling the bond, recognizing his courage and intelligence. For the first time, he sensed respect from the energy itself, an acknowledgement that he was more than a fragile outsider. Lyra's voice broke through the hum. "The bond recognizes your worth. You have shown that humans are capable of more than strength. You have shown creativity, patience, and courage, but one final aspect remains. You must prove loyalty and trust." Alex frowned, unsure what that meant. "Loyalty to whom?" he asked. "To Xiphora and to the balance of this world," Lyra replied. "You cannot cross the bond if you seek only personal gain. You must act for the greater good, for the protection of life and knowledge. Only then will the bond allow passage." A test of character, not skill. Alex reflected on the trials he had faced so far. He had acted for survival, yes, but also with respect for the creatures, the energy, and the city itself. He had observed, learned, and adapted, never seeking to dominate or destroy. This had earned him the bond's attention, but now he understood the final requirement. He had to prove that his intentions were pure. The pool's surface shimmered, forming an image of Xiphora in peril. Aliens attacked, tearing through the city, threatening the energy core. Alex felt a pang of urgency. He could not ignore this vision. The bond wanted him to act, to demonstrate loyalty and care for the planet, not just for himself. He stepped fully into the pool of light, and immediately the energy surged around him. He was lifted slightly above the ground, surrounded by visions of potential outcomes. Each choice he made shaped what he saw. If he acted selfishly, the city fell. If he acted bravely and wisely, the energy stabilized. Alex focused on protecting Zyphora. He imagined ways to strengthen the energy flows, guide the inhabitants to safety, and confront threats without causing harm. Every decision he visualized strengthened the bond's recognition of him. He felt a deep connection forming between himself and the world around him, an understanding that survival alone was not enough. Lyra stepped closer, her presence steadying him. "You see now," she said, "the bond does not test for power. It tests for character, for wisdom, for courage, and for the ability to protect what is important. Humans are rare in this regard. Many species rely on strength alone. You rely on more." Alex felt a sense of pride, not in himself, but in what humans could achieve. They were fragile, yes, but adaptable, resourceful, and capable of great courage. The bond's recognition was not just about him, it was about what humans represented. The energy around him pulsed, and the visions began to fade. He was lowered back to the chamber floor, breathless but exhilarated. He looked at Lyra, who now seemed different. Her eyes held something new, respect, approval, and perhaps a hint of admiration. "You have done well, Alex Rivers," she said. "Few outsiders could withstand this trial. Fewer still would act as you have. The bond recognizes you. You may proceed further into Zyphora, but remember that your journey is not over. You have crossed part of the barrier, but the city and the energy it protects are still delicate. You must continue to act with respect, courage, and intelligence." Alex nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and determination. He had faced fear, tested his mind, and proved his loyalty. The bond had acknowledged his worth, but he knew that the challenges ahead would be even greater. The city, the energy, and the laws of Zyphora demanded vigilance, respect, and ingenuity. As he and Lyra left the chamber, walking through corridors that pulsed with light and life, Alex realized something important. Humans might be fragile compared to Zyphorians, but they had qualities that no amount of strength or technology could replace. Courage, intelligence, creativity, and loyalty could allow a human to survive and even earn respect among the galaxy's most advanced species. Lyra spoke softly as they walked. "You are unusual, Alex Rivers. Your species is often underestimated. Yet you have shown qualities that the bond respects. You may yet become more than a visitor. You may become a protector, a partner, someone the planet itself can trust." Alex felt a surge of determination. He had come to Zyphora to explore, to study, and to survive. Now he realized that survival was only part of the journey. Respect, understanding, and courage were equally vital. Humans could achieve greatness through persistence and cleverness, and he intended to prove it. The city stretched out before him, alive with energy, light, and motion. The trials had tested him, shaped him, and shown him the power of courage and intelligence. He had crossed part of the bond, earning the recognition of the energy itself. The path ahead was uncertain, but Alex Rivers was ready. No matter the challenge, no matter the danger humans could endure, they could adapt, they could triumph. And Zyphora, with its living energy and its formidable trials, would soon learn that even a single human could make a difference. Alex woke to the hum of Zyphora's city, a soft vibration that ran through the floors and walls, alive in a way he could feel in his chest. After the bond had recognized his courage, intelligence, and loyalty, he felt stronger, more confident, but the weight of responsibility pressed on him. This world was fragile, alive, and powerful, and he knew that the next challenge would not be simple. Lyra appeared at his side without announcement, moving with her usual grace. Her eyes were sharper than ever, scanning him as though she were measuring not just his strength, but his readiness for what was to come. "There is no rest, Alex Rivers," she said. "The city faces a threat, and your abilities will be tested like never before. You will need courage, intelligence, and quick thinking to survive this. You are no longer a visitor. You are part of this defense now." Alex's heart thumped in his chest. He had survived the bond's trials, faced illusions, predators, and puzzles, but now the test was different. This was not a controlled challenge created by the bond. This was real danger. He followed Lyra through the glowing corridors of the city, his senses sharp, every nerve alert. Outside, the sky was dark with movement. Alien ships, unlike any human design, descended on the city. They were sleek, metallic, and pulsating with energy. Beams of light lashed out, tearing through the floating towers and streets, striking the energy channels that fed the city's life. Citizens ran in panic, their movements graceful but frantic, aware that this was an attack of unprecedented scale. Alex felt a surge of determination. Fear was present, yes, but it would not control him. He had survived illusions and tests of mind and body. He would survive this, too. He scanned the attackers, noting their movements, the patterns of their weapons, and the way their ships coordinated. He saw opportunity in their predictability, weaknesses hidden in their display of power. Lyra turned to him. The bond allowed you through the trials, but it cannot fight for you. You must use your mind, your courage, and your human ingenuity. I will support you, but the city's defense will rely on your skills as well as mine. Alex nodded. He had faced impossible odds before, but humans thrived in such moments. Adaptation, improvisation, and quick thinking were their greatest strengths. He began moving, weaving through energy corridors, using his understanding of the city's structure to guide civilians to safety and redirect energy flows to stabilize the buildings. The alien attackers focused on a central tower, aiming to destroy the city's energy core. If it fell, the entire floating city could collapse. Alex realized that conventional force would not suffice. He had to think creatively. He scanned the energy channels running through the streets and towers, noting points where the aliens' energy beams could be redirected. Using his hands and voice commands, he activated panels and energy conduits in sequence, causing the alien beams to deflect harmlessly into empty space. Lyra moved alongside him, her presence both guiding and reinforcing his efforts. "You think differently than we would," she said briefly, as a beam of light nearly grazed her. "Humans have a strange ability to improvise, to find solutions where others see only failure. It is remarkable." Alex felt a brief smile despite the chaos. Recognition from Lyra was rare, and he welcomed it. He continued his work, moving through the city with precision. Civilians followed his lead, inspired by the human who was calmly directing the defense in the midst of chaos. The attackers were relentless, but Alex noticed a flaw. Their energy beams, while powerful, were rigid and predictable. He devised a plan. Using energy conduits, he created a pattern of mirrors and deflectors that would bounce the beams back at the alien ships if they continued their assault. It was risky, requiring precise timing and coordination, but he had little choice. Lyra watched him, her expression unreadable but her eyes alert. "I would not have considered this approach," she admitted. "But your method works with the city's structure. It is efficient and creative." As Alex executed the plan, the alien ships faltered. Their beams struck each other, creating chaos in their formation. Some ships collided, their pilots thrown into disarray. Alex saw an opening. He called out to Lyra, and together they advanced toward the central tower, the heart of the city's energy network. Inside the tower, the energy was unstable. Panels were sparking, conduits vibrating violently, and the threat of collapse was real. Alex took a deep breath and began stabilizing the energy flows. He adjusted conduits, rerouted power, and monitored the city's energy signature. Every action required careful thought, precision, and courage. One mistake could mean disaster. Lyra assisted, using her Xiphorian abilities to amplify his efforts. Together, they balanced the energy flows, guided citizens to safety, and countered the alien attacks. The bond's recognition of Alex allowed him to access parts of the city that no human could normally reach, and he used that access to his advantage, outmaneuvering the attackers at every turn. Outside, the alien ships regrouped for another assault, but Alex was ready. He had studied their patterns, anticipated their movements, and created contingencies for every possible action. Using a combination of human ingenuity and Xiphorian energy manipulation, he directed the attackers into traps, forcing them to retreat or collide with each other. The city's defenses, once purely reactive, became proactive under his guidance. Lyra observed with admiration. "Your species is not strong in the traditional sense," she said, "but your mind is formidable. You are capable in ways that few would expect." The bond recognized this, and now your actions prove it further. Alex felt a surge of pride, tempered by the awareness of the stakes. This was not a trial designed by the bond. This was real danger, and real lives were at risk. He had no room for error. Yet the lessons of courage, intelligence, and loyalty from the trials guided him. Humans survived not because they were the strongest, but because they could think, adapt, and endure. As the alien attackers began to retreat, Alex and Lyra worked together to repair the city's energy conduits and stabilize the floating platforms. The citizens, once panicked, now moved with purpose, guided by the human and the Xiphorian commander. Together, they repaired the damage, restored energy flows, and reinforced the city's defenses. Finally, the sky cleared. The alien ships withdrew, leaving the city intact, though damaged in places. Alex stood on a floating platform, breathing heavily, exhausted but exhilarated. He had faced real danger and survived. He had used his human skills to protect an entire alien city. He had earned respect, not through strength or force, but through courage, intelligence, and creativity. Lyra approached, her eyes holding a mixture of relief and approval. "You have exceeded expectations, Alex Rivers. The bond allowed you access, but it could not have predicted the choices you would make in the face of true danger. You have proven that humans are capable of more than we imagined. You are not just a visitor. You are a protector, a partner, and an ally." Alex nodded, still catching his breath. The bond had tested him, and now he understood why. It was not merely a barrier. It was a measure of character, a guardian of the city, and a guide to those who could truly contribute to Xiphora's survival. Humans could survive by thinking, by adapting, and by acting with courage and intelligence. He had done all three, and in doing so, he had crossed another layer of the bond. The city began to recover, citizens moving with purpose, the energy flows stabilizing, and life returning to normal. Alex looked at Lyra, who now seemed almost human in her expression, a rare softness behind her disciplined exterior. I did not think I could manage this," he admitted. "But I had to try. There was no other choice." Lyra's eyes softened, a rare smile appearing. "Courage often comes from necessity. You have proven that human courage is not limited by size or strength. It is measured by choice, determination, and wisdom. You have made choices that have saved this city. That is worth more than any trial." Alex felt a deep sense of accomplishment, but also an awareness that the journey was not over. The bond still stood as a measure of worth, guiding those who sought to protect and contribute to Xiphora. He had crossed part of it through skill, courage, and intelligence. The final test, he knew, would require something deeper: trust, loyalty, and the ability to act with integrity in every situation. For now, though, he allowed himself a brief moment of relief. The city was safe. The aliens had been repelled. The bond had recognized his worth. And humans, though often underestimated, had shown once again that they could survive, adapt, and triumph in worlds far beyond their own. As night fell over Xiphora, the city glowed softly, lights reflecting off the crystal towers and floating platforms. Alex stood beside Lyra, looking out over the city he had helped protect. The hum of energy pulsed beneath their feet, a reminder of the bond's presence and the planet's awareness. He felt a connection to this world, fragile yet powerful, alive and responsive. Lyra spoke softly. "Tomorrow, the final trial will begin. It will test the essence of your spirit, your loyalty, and your trust. You have proven courage, intelligence, and creativity. The next step is the most difficult, but I believe you are ready." Alex nodded, determination burning in his chest. Humans were capable of extraordinary feats, not because they were the strongest, but because they refused to give up, because they adapted, and because they used every resource of mind and body. He would face the final trial with the same determination, ready to prove that humans could earn respect even in the most extraordinary and dangerous worlds. The night stretched over Xiphora, calm after the storm, yet filled with the promise of challenges to come. Alex Rivers, human explorer, had survived the attack, had guided the city through chaos, and had earned recognition from both Lyra and the bond itself. The final trial awaited, and he would meet it with courage, intelligence, and loyalty, ready to prove that even a human could make a difference in the galaxy. The city of Xiphora was quiet that morning, though a soft hum of energy ran through the streets, towers, and bridges. The alien attack had been repelled, but the city still bore the marks of chaos: burned-out energy panels, floating platforms shifted out of alignment, and citizens moving carefully as they repaired the damage. Alex walked beside Lyra, alert to every sound, every movement. He knew the final trial awaited, and he could feel the weight of expectation pressing down on him. Lyra led him to a chamber at the heart of the city, a place he had only seen from a distance before. Its walls were made of translucent crystal, glowing with a soft internal light that pulsed like a heartbeat. The air vibrated with energy, and Alex felt it deep in his chest. This was the core of the bond, the final test, and it demanded more than courage or intelligence. It demanded heart, integrity, and trust. "The final trial begins now," Lyra said. "You have proven courage, intelligence, and creativity. You have survived danger and helped protect Zyphora. But the last step requires understanding the bond and the responsibility it represents. Only by showing loyalty, wisdom, and care for this world will you succeed." Alex nodded, though his heart thumped with anticipation. He had faced trials before, physical challenges, illusions, mental puzzles, but this was different. This was a test of character, of essence, and he knew he could not rely on skill alone. The moment he stepped into the chamber, the energy shifted around him. Light streams formed shapes, some abstract, some startlingly real. He saw visions of Zyphora's history, its founding, the creation of the bond, and countless generations of Zyphorians defending their city and world. The bond was more than a barrier. It was a living guardian, tied to the planet's energy and its people. Alex felt a tug at his consciousness, a question from the bond itself. It was silent, yet he understood it perfectly. Would he protect this world not for glory or reward, but because it was right? Would he act with courage, wisdom, and loyalty, even if the cost was great? He thought of the alien attack the day before, the chaos he had helped manage, and the citizens who had followed his guidance. He realized that humans, fragile though they were, could have a lasting impact through courage, thought, and action. His choice was clear. He would act for the good of Zyphora, not for himself, not for praise, but because it was necessary. The visions shifted again, showing scenarios of failure. Cities destroyed, energy flows collapsing, citizens in danger. The bond challenged him, probing for hesitation, doubt, or selfish thought. Alex clenched his fists. He would not falter. He drew upon everything he had learned, the importance of observation, adaptation, quick thinking, and courage. He added another layer, empathy, care, and respect for life, both human and Zyphorian. The energy around him pulsed, forming an image of Lyra. Her eyes were sharp, measuring him, yet there was a softness now, a hint of trust. Alex realized the bond also tested his ability to work with others, to trust and coordinate with those who had different skills and ways of thinking. Humans could survive alone, yes, but greatness required collaboration, especially in worlds as complex as Zyphora. A series of tests appeared, not physical or mental, but ethical and instinctual. Alex had to choose paths that would balance the energy flows, protect citizens, and ensure the city's stability, all in real time. Each choice affected multiple outcomes, and one wrong decision could have cascading consequences. His mind raced, but he focused on clarity. He had survived illusions, puzzles, and predators, and he had led the city through chaos. Now he relied on wisdom as much as courage. The bond sensed his choices. Light streams formed around him, wrapping him gently yet firmly. He felt a deep connection to the energy of Zyphora, almost as if he were part of the planet itself. The bond was testing his essence. Was he capable of true responsibility, not just cleverness or bravery? He reflected on humans, on their persistence, ingenuity, and courage, and realized that these qualities were not limited by strength. A human could achieve greatness through mind and heart, through resilience and integrity. Alex continued to make decisions, adjusting energy flows, predicting outcomes, and acting decisively. Citizens of Zyphora moved with his guidance, following instincts he had inspired. He realized that humans had a strange ability. They could inspire others, adapt in unexpected ways, and act with moral judgment even under intense pressure. The bond acknowledged this, responding with warmth and energy rather than resistance. Finally, after what felt like hours, the chamber's energy began to calm. The light streams focused, centering around Alex. The vision ceased, leaving him standing in the soft glow of the crystal chamber. He could feel the bond fully, not as a barrier, but as recognition, understanding, and trust. He had proven himself worthy. Lyra approached, her expression calm but filled with respect. "You have completed the final trial, Alex Rivers. The bond acknowledges your worth, your courage, your wisdom, and your loyalty. You are no longer simply an outsider. You are a protector, a partner, and an ally. Zyphora trusts you." Alex felt a surge of emotion, not pride, not relief, but a deep sense of purpose. He had come to Zyphora as an explorer, curious and cautious, but he was leaving as something more, a being recognized by an alien world for his courage, intelligence, and integrity. He looked at Lyra. I never thought I could do this," he admitted. I didn't know if I could meet your world's expectations or even survive the trials. But I had to try. There was no other choice. Lyra's eyes softened. Courage often comes from necessity. You have shown that humans, though fragile, are capable of great things. You acted with care, intelligence, and determination. That is what the bond honors. Outside, the city was alive again, glowing towers and floating platforms restored, energy flows stabilized, citizens moving with confidence. Alex walked beside Lyra, feeling a connection not just to the city, but to its people, its energy, and its living bond. He realized that humans could make a difference in even the most extraordinary worlds, not through raw strength, but through courage, intelligence, and perseverance. The bond had given him access to Zyphora in a way no human had experienced before. He could move freely through the city, interact with its energy systems, and assist in its protection. But more than that, he had earned respect, not just from Lyra, but from the planet itself. Zyphora had acknowledged that a human could act with wisdom, loyalty, and courage worthy of its trust. Lyra spoke softly as they walked through the city. You are unusual among humans. Your species is often underestimated, but you have shown that even one human can make a difference in ways no other might. The bond recognizes that. Remember, this is not just power, it is responsibility. You have earned it, but you must continue to act with integrity and care. Alex nodded, understanding fully. He had learned the meaning of true courage, intelligence, and loyalty. He had faced impossible challenges, survived real danger, and acted wisely in situations that required split-second decisions. Zyphora's trust was now his to honor, and he would not betray it. For the first time, he felt at peace in this alien world. The trials had tested him, the bond had judged him, and he had proven that humans could survive, adapt, and earn respect even among species far more advanced. He realized something fundamental: strength alone was not enough. Humans thrived because of ingenuity, courage, and the ability to act with care and thought. That was what set them apart. Lyra turned to him, her expression softer than he had ever seen. You have done more than survive, Alex Rivers. You have earned a place here, not just among Zyphorians, but in the energy of the planet itself. You understand courage, loyalty, and wisdom. You understand responsibility. The bond will guide you now, but it trusts you to act with integrity. Alex smiled, a feeling of quiet triumph filling him. He had come to Zyphora as a visitor, an outsider, and now he was part of its defense, its trust, and its future. Humans, he realized, could rise to extraordinary challenges, not because they were the strongest, but because they refused to give up, adapted to their surroundings, and acted with intelligence and heart. The twin suns rose over the horizon, casting light across the city, reflecting off the crystal towers and illuminating the floating platforms. Alex looked out over Zyphora, a world he had come to respect and protect. The bond pulsed softly beneath his feet, a living connection, a reminder of trust, courage, and loyalty. He turned to Lyra. I will honor this trust. I will protect Zyphora, its people, and its energy. I will not fail. Lyra nodded. I believe you will not. You have proven that even a single human can achieve what others might doubt. You have crossed the bond not just by skill, but by spirit. That is why Zyphora trusts you. Alex felt a surge of purpose. Humans might be fragile, but they were resilient, clever, and capable of extraordinary feats. He had earned his place on Zyphora not through force, but through courage, intelligence, loyalty, and respect. The city was safe, the bond recognized him, and he was ready to face whatever challenges the future held. As the light of the twin suns bathed the city in gold and soft purple, Alex stood beside Lyra, ready for the adventures ahead. Zyphora had tested him, shaped him, and recognized him, and he knew one thing clearly: humans could survive, adapt, and earn respect anywhere in the galaxy, and he would prove it time and again in ways both great and small. The bond had accepted him. The city had survived. And Alex Rivers, human explorer, had found his place among the stars, not just as a visitor, but as a protector, a partner, and a hero in his own right.